Hi there, Coach Sage Canaday of VO2 Max Productions here with another video vlog update. I just want to get you up to speed with my running progress since my failures on the doing road marathons. Of course, that was this past weekend, and wow, what a performance. Congratulations to those that competed in the Olympic trials, finished or not finished. I respect the DNFs as well as those people that made the Olympic team. It was brutal conditions in LA, I guess. They started the race at 10 a.m. Because of the TV coverage, and there were issues with all sorts of issues. I guess people, if you look at the times, that tells a story, high rate of dropping out. But it's the nature of the trials. It's a very elite race. For most people there, it's like your Olympics. So it's a special experience. And yeah, you know, my heart was there. I wanted to be there. But instead, I was racing an ultra. I decided to do, like I mentioned in my last video, the Black Canyon 100K just outside of Phoenix, Arizona, and it went well. I finished in first place. Got a course record 7:52 for 100K. Now, it wasn't at downhill, I will admit, but it was also a lot more technical and rocky and hot than I thought it would be. So it still had a decent amount of climbing. I think over 5,000 feet of climbing, single track most of the way. Some really pretty beautiful trails. Given it was kind of in the desert, a lot of cacti. But it went well, and I was worried about it going in just because I was tired. I was beat up after Houston. Houston didn't go well. I really wanted to take a break, but then I thought, you know, I could get, if I finish top 2 at Black Canyon, get that golden ticket to Western States. So that was the goal, to knock it out early instead of banking on something like Lake Sonoma later in the year. So I went out and I did that, and I ran a fairly even-paced race, as the nature of that race goes. The first 50K is more downhill, then it starts heating up, and the temperatures were in the 80s. I think it felt really hot coming from a winter, running in the snow in China, running in the snow and cold in Boulder, to going to this 70 to 80 degree dry desert heat, and the sun's beating down on me. And but I like the heat. I'm a good hot weather runner, and naturally would rather be suffering in the heat than I hate being cold on runs. I hate running in the snow. So a hot, dry environment's actually probably better for me compared to other people that maybe like ski a lot or something like that. But it was fun. It was good. I pushed pretty hard, and you know, looking at my training going into it, I was probably averaging about 60 miles a week the last 6 weeks. You could look it up on Strava. It's all there. Just for the, you know, the taper before Houston, the recovery after Houston, and then before that, the recovery after Cal International, I got up to about 100 miles a week once before Houston, but the rest of it was lower mileage taper and taking days off after each marathon. So really pretty low volume, probably average about 60 miles a week, like I said, and that's a little daunting. For someone like me, it's all relative. When you're used to running 100 or 100 miles a week, to be running a lower volume and doing a race that is actually 62 miles with a lot of vertical. And you know, after China, I knew I was doing Black Canyon. I squeezed in one long run on the trails over 20 miles, but other than that, my long run for Black Canyon was the Houston Marathon, and it was a hard quality long run, you know, 220 for 26.2 miles. It's a good hard long training stimulus, and so I was kind of banking on that marathon training specificity, that marathon training intensity, and consistent training. I trained very consistently for the build-up before Cal was relatively consistent, where I had, you know, 7 or 8 weeks where I averaged about 100 miles a week. Like I said before, though, it wasn't good enough to get the trials qualifier, but it was consistent, because when I've done ultras in the past, I've over-raced, and I've done too many different ultras that were way different from each other. Like, I do Lake Sonoma, and then 4 weeks later I do Transvolcania, totally different courses. Or I do, you know, Speed Goat, and then I do Comrades, and then try to do Speed Goat. Or, you know, I can't think of the Rut 50K right after doing Pikes Peak Ascent, and then going into Lake Templier. Different courses that are a lot more runnable really change how your body reacts. And what I found now is that I think I could transition back to the trails a little bit faster than the transition going from the mountain ultra trails to trying to run really fast in the road marathon. Like, the fitness is there, the base fitness is there, but the specific speed of flat road running at a really high level, close to lactate threshold, which it really is for me in the marathon, you know, I didn't quite get those last couple minutes out. That last bit of efficiency is really hard to get back, whereas, you know, I could always bank on the fact of having a decent aerobic base just from 17 years of year-round racing and training, as well as fairly consistent, injury-free blocks of training over the years. So, you know, it was surprisingly well. I was suffering at the end of Black Canyon. My legs were like throbbing really bad after the finish, and I was fighting dehydration just like everyone else out there on the course. But solid performance. I think I beat the course record by about 39 minutes, and second place. So at the mile, I took the lead around mile 22, 24 at an aid station. I just happened to get out of the aid station faster. I was running with two other guys that unfortunately both ended up dropping out. But after that, I was in the lead by myself, and at mile 37, there was this little out and back. And I looked back, and I had about a 7 or 8 minute lead. So I was like, oh, it's pretty tight. Anything could happen. Wasn't feeling real great. You always feel, this is my mental note, you always feel this horrible moment of despair around mile 40 in a 100K race. That's happened to me every time, except at least this time, it was the biggest climb on the course, and I was able to push it pretty hard, and I didn't feel that despair quite as bad as I have in previous 100Ks, like Yurok, Tarawera, New Zealand. What other 100Ks have I done? Can't even think now. I guess that's it. Oh, Bandera. Done Bandera in the mud. But yeah, I had that feeling of despair. You have low points. Took extra shots of V-Fuel basically and got out of it. And then, yeah, dehydration was a big issue. And for my next big focus, which will be Transvolcania, then Western States, that's heat training. Those are hot races usually, traditionally. And so hydration is the utmost importance, and not just your intake of actual water, but your electrolyte imbalances, or balancing your electrolytes as well. So I was taking in V-Fuel about every 20 minutes, V-Fuel shot, and then I was taking in a lot of water with Noon mixed in my Nathan 18-ounce handheld, getting refilled. Sandy was out there crewing for me at Black Canyon. I did grab some bananas and pretzels from the aid station, as well as some chips. And then at the 50-mile aid station, Sandy gave me a bottle of my ginger ale, which I insisted upon getting, even though I didn't have any stomach issues. And I instantly regretted that I didn't have more water, because that wasn't really ice cold, and I was very thirsty for water in the last 12 miles. But she's like, Sage, you need more water, you should take another bottle with you. I was like, no, I'm fine, whatever. And then Dave James was volunteering out there on the course and working for Aravapia, is that how you pronounce it? Sorry, Jamel. Aravapia running, and he's like, you know, you have a big climb still in the last like 7 miles, and of course I did, and I ran out of fluid on that. But all in all, I was lucky to get through the race without cramping, given my lack of volume and given the relative intensity that I was running at, because I hadn't been on this trails or single track, and I hadn't been doing any vertical really in my training. So I was able to kind of fake my way through it, I guess. But I also learned that I think the marathon intensity, interval workouts, lactate threshold workouts, all that structure does pay dividends eventually in your ultra trail running. And that's kind of been our whole Sage Running coaching and training plan and ebook philosophy. Sandy and I run our business Sage Running. Visit our website, sagerunning.com, with our training plans, and we combine that knowledge and that experience together in our ultra plans. Now, we also have the half marathon and marathon plans, but for our ultra plans, that's the kind of approach that we always take, is, mixing up your training, changing little stimuli here and there as you go along, so that these adaptations start kicking in and working together in the right balance, so that you improve as a runner at any distance, any surface. Now, it's hard to do at the same time, but I think actually for most people, especially if you're still running, you're still looking for that Boston qualifier or cracking 3 hours in the marathon, you could actually run PRs, you know, in the half marathon while you're doing the marathon buildup, or you could run in a 50K ultra and mix it up. It's not so much the nature of the actual race distance when it comes to trail running. It's the nature of the course. It's the nature of the elevation gain, the vertical profile that really matters. You know, it could be a 50K or 50-mile race, but one could be a mountainous race that takes, you know, the speed goat 50K takes just as long as the JFK 50 mile, because JFK is pretty flat. The speed goat's just straight up and down mountains at altitude. And then the technicality nature of the course, how course conditions change in ultras, whether you're running in sand or mud, or you're jumping across slick rock and it's technical, or you're running on buffed out smooth dirt single track that's packed down, or you're running on snow or something like that. That's gonna change your race way more than the actual distance. You know, is there that much of a difference between a 50 mile and 100K? Not really, it's 12 miles. You always feels like a big difference, but the nature of the vertical profile is what really matters. And that's when you make the transition between the road marathons to ultras and back and forth. I think that's the real key takeaway. And I'm still learning it. I messed up with my road marathon training. Hopefully I'm back in the swing of things with ultra mountain trail running training now. And again, as I mentioned, going forward here, I'm gonna take a break now. I'm tired, my back hurts, I gotta take a rest, reset the endocrine system, not push anything, try to get, just relax, just chill. And I'm riding my bike a little bit as cross training. It's hard for me to sit still, but you know, I'll give it a couple weeks and be patient. And I pulled out a Chuckanut 50K, I signed up for that in March. I'm pulling out of Lake Sonoma in April. I'm focusing all on Western states, but I want to do Transvolcania in early May as part of my buildup. I think it's great heat training. I think I'll be getting in a lot of vertical and base as I make the transition back to the trails, and it's great competition. I love La Palma, love the race at Transvolcania. Hopefully a lot of top runners will be there. It's always a great field. I've only gotten third there the last 2 times I did it, but it was right after doing Lake Sonoma, so hopefully I could focus more this year on just doing that as part of the build-up for the Western States 100-mile endurance run, which I'm psyched about. Hopefully I could finish 100 miles. And yeah, you know, get ready for the heat. Snow's starting to melt a little here in Boulder. It'll probably snow again in the next couple months, but excited to be back on the trails and building a solid aerobic base with a lot of easy pace running again, trying to get my mileage up really high and just being consistent, so I could carry that leg strength over into these longer distance races. And that's really my rant training vlog update. Thank you so much for all the feedback and support. I really appreciate all the comments I got on Facebook, all the tweets I got, all the comments on Strava, and comments on Instagram. You guys are the best. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm at Sage Canaday on Twitter and Instagram. I got Sage Canaday fan page. It's my athlete page on Facebook. And I apologize in advance. Don't send me a Facebook message. You'll never get a response. I've given up on those. If you do want to get in contact with me directly, though, the best platform to do that now is going to be on Patreon. It's patreon.com/sagerunning. I'll link to it at the end of this video. Thank you so much for all the support on there. You guys have really helped me purchase new camera gear, a new GoPro, upgraded the GoPros. Really trying to up the editing game going into this spring and summer. Show you guys some adventure runs as well as training runs for Western states, things like that. But I couldn't do this without you guys, so thank you. I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. This is really a dream come true. I'm super excited for what the season has to hold. I hope your running is going well and that you're getting out there and enjoying some miles or kilometers. But thank you guys, really do appreciate it, and stay tuned for more VO2 Max Productions.